welcome back to the College Basketball Bracket Science Podcast. I'm Brandon Jadich. We're through the round of 32, diving into the Sweet 16. We have what we call a good old-fashioned chalk madness right now. The 1s and 2 seeds are just blowing through the tournament, along with the better-ranked team just seeming to win every single game in this March Madness tournament. If you like a Cinderella story, hasn't been a great year for you. If you like to see some of the best teams who have been the best teams all year, it's been a fun March Madness. We're going to dive in this show and talk about all of these games that occurred in the round of 32 that led to some of this chalk madness. A lot of 1 and 2 seeds. Actually, every 1 and 2 seed will be playing this Thursday and Friday. So we're going to talk about some of the results. Then we're going to talk about some of the Sweet 16 games that are going to take place, broken down by region, of course. Then we're going to get into some statistics. Of course, I'm a statistics nerd. Love talking about it. We're going to talk about how every conference is faring, what their records are. It might be shocking to you. Wasn't what I expected, and it is. It's playing out differently than what a lot of people had predicted. Then we're going to talk about some of the efficiency ratings based on kenpom. Numbers are changing like crazy. For example, Illinois, now the number 1 team in the nation in offensive efficiency, jumping over UConn. UConn dropped to number 2. We also have a new number 1 defensive team. We'll talk about that. Then we're going to talk about some of our power rankings going into the Sweet 16. Pretty easy to rank them all when all the 1 seeds, all the 2 seeds are still alive. And then we're going to dive into a little bit of some second chance brackets. I know at least ESPN does. Don't know if Capital One March Madness Live does offer a second chance bracket, but at least on ESPN, those are a lot of fun to go fill out. If your bracket might not be busted. When has it been the Sweet 16? I've said that. It's usually busted by now, but with all this chalk going on, bracket might not be busted. So we're going to start. We're going to talk about all these results, but first, quickly, nothing to do with the March Madness. We're going to talk about some of the coaching changes that have gone on. We got 5 we're going to talk about just real quick. Big news. Dusty May, the first one, obviously. He chose Michigan over Louisville. He is not going to Louisville. Shocking. Louisville was the heavy front runner. We thought it was between Louisville, Michigan, and Vanderbilt. Thought for sure it was going to be Louisville, though. No, he's going to Michigan. They're looking for a kind of a laid-back personality at Michigan. Dusty May fits that. Proven coach, made the Final Four last year. You got to stay out of the way of football at Michigan. Michigan football is what brings in the money, but Michigan basketball, proud program of their own, probably top 25 job in the country. Dusty May to Michigan. Couple happenings today. We're currently recording this on Monday, so a lot of stuff went down on Monday in the coaching world. Kyle Smith is going to Stanford after his great season at Washington State this year, losing in the round of 32. He's going to Stanford. Darian DeVries, the Drake coach, going to West Virginia. And Danny Sprinkle, the Utah State coach who led them to an outright regular season title, took them to the round of 32 where they got beat by Purdue. He is going to Washington. Then Mark Byington from James Madison just lost last night as well, going to Vanderbilt. So as you notice a trend, as these teams start to lose, they're going to get offered jobs immediately, especially once now that we're into the Sweet 16, some of those Sweet 16 teams that lose, although there are a lot of power conference teams, so might not be as much changing as you might expect there. So let's dive right into to some of the results. We're just going to go in chronological order all the way through. The first game, we're going to start on Saturday. We're going to talk about Saturday and Sunday's games. For those watching on YouTube, you have the graphic up of all the games. By the way, hit the subscribe button. Really appreciate it. If you're listening on audio, click the follow. Let us know. Take some reviews. We really appreciate it. Starting on Saturday, the first game was 7-seeded Dayton taking on 2-seeded Arizona. Arizona won the game 78 to 68. Arizona just continuing to roll right now. They were actually blowing them out for a while in this game, but Dayton had a lot of fight to come back and at least get into it. If you had Dayton plus 9.5, I'm so sorry, as they decided to foul with about 10 seconds left, down by 9. So it ended up being a 10-point. Caleb Love knocked down a free throw. Ended up being a 10-point win instead of a 9-point win. So kind of a bad beat there for you Dayton plus 9 guys. Story was Caleb Love, 19 points. He's the leading scorer, Pac-12 Player of the Year. He was only 6 of 15 from the field, but still 19 points led him to a pretty fairly easy win here. But the story comes off the bench for Arizona. And the one we want to talk about is Jaden Bradley. Jaden Bradley is the 6th man and he has been playing incredible throughout this Arizona run that they're on right now. He came off the bench in this one, scored 12 points, 3 of 7 from the field, knocked down a 3. Great defensive player, had 3 blocks, 3 steals. He came in. He was a transfer from Alabama last year, and he actually committed right before Caleb Love committed. So he was supposed to have a huge role, but Caleb Love came in, and obviously, I mean, Pac-12 Player of the Year, great player, great shooter. He's just accepted his role, coming off the bench, scoring 12 points, had a great game in this one, and he is a key part to this Arizona squad. Durant Holmes, he led Dayton with 23 points, 11 rebounds. He had a great year, All-American, but just fell short there for the Flyers. Next game on was Gonzaga taking on Kansas in the 5-4 game. Gonzaga, the 5 seed, but was actually favored in this game. And although Kansas led by 1 at the half, complete domination from Gonzaga in the second half. Kind of saw it coming. Saw Kansas play about as good as they could play in the first half and only had a 1-point lead. Then Gonzaga just took over in the second half, just dominated. Ended up winning by 21 points. Not a lot to talk about there. And then Michigan State took on North Carolina in the same situation. Michigan State actually got off to an early lead, and then it was just dominated by North Carolina the rest of the way. North Carolina, the first 1 seed to punch their ticket into the Sweet 16. A lot of people had them getting beat by Michigan State in this game, but North Carolina is good. I know there's some leftover thoughts from last year, but this team is really impressive. RJ Davis led 20 points. Armando Bacot, 18 points, 7 rebounds. Harrison Ingram, 17 points, 7 rebounds. They've got some dudes. Cormac Ryan also added 14 points. They're getting contributions from everywhere. They are balanced. They are great. Michigan State goes down. Tom Izzo fails to reach the Sweet 16. Had a nice presser at the end. He said he's going to basically die trying to get Michigan State back in the Final Four. Tom Izzo, really passionate coach, really makes college basketball great. Then Washington State. Washington State took on Iowa State, the 2 seed. This game was Washington State's up in front early in the game, but ended up being Iowa State winning the game 67-56. It was a good stuff from Iowa State. They didn't score the ball well at all at the beginning of the game, but really figured it out thanks to Tamin Lipsey. Tamin Lipsey had a great one in this game. 15 points, 5-11 from the field, 2 of 4 from 3. Also added 5 rebounds, 4 assists. Good stuff. Jaden Wells for Washington State, he led with 20 points, only 2 of 11 from 3. Miles Rice really didn't get going, 13 points, 6 of 10 from the field, so pretty efficient there for Miles Rice. But rough couple days for Washington State, get beat, and then you lose your coach who really led you here. Next game we're going to talk about was the battle of the double-digit seeds. NC State beat Oakland in overtime. This was a great game, 79-73. The Jack Golke legendary status comes to a halt right here. Great run for Oakland. Everyone kind of really pulling for them, but DJ Burns just too much. DJ Burns has been a monster in this run for NC State. NC State is the only double-digit seeded team that we're going to see in the Sweet 16. In this game, DJ Burns had 24 points, 11 rebounds, 9 of 12 from the field. Diarra had 11 points, 13 rebounds. It was good stuff for Oakland as well. Trey Townsend is an absolute just stud for them. He had 30 points, 13 rebounds, 11 of 25 from the field. Golke, 22 points still, 6 of 17 from 3. Man, 37 threes shot in 2 games for Jack Golke. That's fun to watch. He only attempted 17 shots, 17 threes. Gotta love a player who plays like that. But DJ Burns, Diarra, just a little bit too much for them. Congratulations to Oakland on a great year, and congratulations to NC State just making a little run here. This is a fun team to watch. Texas took on Tennessee in the 7-2 game. Tennessee, Rick Barnes taking on his former coach. It was an ugly game at the beginning of the game. That's the only way I'm going to put it. It was ugly. It was 28-19 at the half, so just not the most appealing basketball game to watch. Tennessee ended up winning the game 62-58. Ended up being a little bit closer than you might have expected. Sorry for those Tennessee bettors. I think the line ended at 6.5. Dalton Connect, he did lead the team in scoring, 18 points, only 5 of 18 from the field, 1 of 8 from 3. Did add on 9 rebounds, but this just kind of shows Tennessee, they can scrap out a win if need be, even with Dalton Connect not playing his best. Texas, kind of a disappointing year to not with all their talent to not make a little bit of a run. I mean, bad draw. You got to play Tennessee, but you shouldn't have been a 7 seed with all that talent. Probably should have been in the 4 or 5 seed range, but Tennessee moves on to the Sweet 16. Then Illinois took down Duquesne. Not even going to talk about this game. It was just a blowout. 89-63. Terrence Shannon is great. Marcus Domask is great. Dane Danger has been playing extremely well. But this is the last game of Keith Damrot's career for Duquesne. Nice to see him get his first tournament win the other day against BYU. Great career for Keith Damrot. Now he can just relax and watch LeBron, watch his former players. Then the game of the night was the late night game. It was Creighton took down Oregon 86-73, 13-point win, but it was in double overtime. Double overtime was just all Creighton, just dominated. This was just a back and forth affair. Big shot after big shot. Baylor Shireman hit a huge shot in regulation to get it to overtime. Jermaine Cousinard hit a huge shot in overtime to send it to double overtime, and then double overtime, it was just all Creighton. Creighton's big four just really produced. Stephen Ashworth, he shot 15 threes, a little Jack Golke of his own in this one. He led with 21 points. He made 5 of those 15, 6 of 18 from the field. Trey Alexander had 20 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists. Very good. Baylor Shireman is great as always. 18 points, 9 rebounds, 4 and 9 from 3. And then Ryan Kalkbrenner is over 7 feet tall, and he played 49 of the 50 minutes in this game. That's incredible. He had 19 points, 14 rebounds, 1 of 1 from 3, and that 3 was huge in double overtime to kind of break Oregon's hearts. Kalkbrenner played 49 minutes. Shireman and Alexander did not come out of the game. They played 50 minutes. That's so impressive in March. Good stuff from that Creighton squad. Great run for Oregon. Jermaine Cousinard, just incredible performance. 32 points. He had 72 points in March Madness this year. He had 40 that first game, 32 in this one. Now, he did take 33 shots, but he was 6 of 12 from 3, 13 of 33 from the field. And then in Folly Dante, I mean, this stat line seems fake. 28 points, 20 rebounds, 48 minutes. He has been injury prone his whole career. To play 48 minutes and have a double-double in the 20s, just incredible stuff. Oregon got a rough draw here. I know they didn't have, I wish they didn't have to play Creighton as a 3 seed. I think if they were to take on any other 3 seed, they would have had a much better chance. Obviously Baylor, and then Kentucky lost to Oakland, but Illinois might have been a tough one for them. But kind of tough they had to play Creighton because Creighton does have the capability to win the tournament. Creighton's going to need more out of Mason Miller. Mason Miller is their 5th starter. Outside of those big 4 we talked about, Creighton only got a total of 8 points from everyone else. Their 5th starter, Mason Miller, scored 1. He was 0 of 3 from the field. He's got to do more. They can't just rely on these 4 guys. Good run for Oregon. Great win for Creighton there. Creighton moves on, and we'll have a big one here we'll talk about here in a little bit. That's the last game for us for Saturday. Now we're going to move on to Sunday. Sunday was just another chalk day. For those who don't know what I'm saying when I mean chalk, it just basically means it's the better team winning. It's the higher ranked team winning. It's kind of boring basketball, but it's kind of what you expect. We never really see it in March, but it's actually happening right now. The first game was Colorado taking on Marquette, and this was a good way to start the day. Marquette ended up winning the game 81-77, but this was a back and forth matchup the entire way. Marquette actually led by 11 at the end of the first half, but you just saw the firepower that Colorado has on offense. But Marquette just a little too put together for Colorado to end up winning the game. Tyler Kolek led 21 points, 11 assists, the best passer in college basketball, without a doubt. Cam Jones had a huge first half. He ended the game with 18 points. He made 4 threes. Also, Iguodaro also added 10 points, only 1 rebound, which was very interesting to me. Joplin also had a good game for Marquette, 14 points, knocked down a couple big threes. Colorado fought back. They really did. KJ Simpson is great. I think KJ Simpson will definitely be in the NBA. 20 points, 4 threes. Cody Williams had a good game off the bench, 12 points, 5 of 10 from the field. And then De Silva also played well, 17 points, 50% from the field, and 3 of 7 from the three-point line. Lampkin kind of struggled, but it was a good fight for Colorado. Tough to see their season end like that, but good win for Marquette. Marquette gets to the Sweet 16 for the first time in a while. Good for them. Good for Shaka Smart. Shaka Smart really needed it. He was emotional at his press conference at the end of the game, so it really showed how much it meant to him. The second game was not as close of a game as that first one. Purdue beat Utah State 106-67, 39-point win, just complete domination. For those who are saying Purdue is going to choke, I don't know if I would be too confident in that. They're kind of getting over the hump now. They're past those first two games where you're not supposed to lose. Now anything can happen, and but they're past those two, and they're just building more and more confidence, especially after this. Zach Edey, 23 points, 14 rebounds, domination, and ends Utah State season and ends the Danny Sprinkle era at Utah State. Moving on to Washington. Good win for Purdue there. They're going to draw Gonzaga in their next matchup. Next one was even probably worse of a game. They from a 39-point loss to a 38-point loss, so maybe not. James Madison got drilled by Duke 93-55. This was also the last game for James Madison's coach there, as we mentioned, moving on to Vanderbilt. It was Jared McCain. Jared McCain was the story in this game. He was knocking down everything. 8 threes, 30 points. Huge game for Jared McCain, much more than just a TikTok guy. He knocks down threes. Filipowski played better in this one, 14 points. Proctor added 18, but all they really needed was Jared McCain, 10 of 15 from the field, 8 of 11 from three. He was just dominant. Congrats to James Madison. They had a great year. They were just outmatched in this one. Their talent just didn't match up. They finished the season 32-4. Nothing to hang their heads on there. Good game. Then moving on, Baylor took on 6-seed Clemson. Baylor was the 3 seed, and Clemson won. This was the only worst-ranked team to win the game, to win on Sunday. Clemson took down Baylor. Not a lot of people taking New Mexico over Clemson. I mean, Clemson got beat by 20 to Boston College in the ACC tournament, but they're playing much better as of now. Obviously, they take down Baylor. It was kind of a rough ending of the game. Clemson, they controlled basically the entire game, and then Jacoby Walter, I mean, Baylor fought back, made Ray J. Dennis had a great game, made some plays. Jacoby Walter actually got fouled down 2, about 30 seconds left, missed both free throws, and then Clemson just controlled the entire way. They didn't miss free throws down the stretch. Kind of proves how good this, how experienced this team is, I guess. Ray J. Dennis, he played great, though. He had 27 points, 9 of 21 from the field. But Clemson, Chase Hunter, he had an incredible game, best game of his career. 20 points, 3 threes, 5 of 10 from the field. Joe Girard had 13. He made a lot of key free throws down the stretch. PJ Hall actually fouled out in the midst of all this mess, but he sat on the bench and watched him. He didn't have his best game, 11 points, 3 rebounds, 4 of 11 from the field. Only in 19 minutes, he was in foul trouble all game. So to show this team can get it done without PJ Hall playing its best really shows a lot about this Clemson team. This is a big win for the Clemson program. I mean, they had a rough ACC go of it. They had a great non-con, obviously, and now they're moving on to the Sweet 16. Congratulations to them. Then the next game was 12-seeded Grand Canyon taking on 4-seeded Alabama. Alabama won the game 72-61. Not usually how you expect an Alabama game to finish, only 133 total points. But Alabama proved in this one that they can defend when they need to. It was closer than this final score indicated, but Alabama just kind of scrapping it out, pulling it out at the end. Mark Sears, another big game. They win 72-61. Alabama moves on to play North Carolina. Good stuff there. Northwestern, just no match for UConn. UConn, number 1 overall seed, took them down 75-58. Donovan Clingan, 14 points, 14 rebounds, just an absolute monster. Not much to talk about here. The game wasn't even as close as a 17-point game. UConn was up over 20 the entire way. A game that we are going to talk about for sure, though, Texas A&M and Houston. This was the game of the night. Houston ended up winning the game 100-95. Yes, this is a Houston basketball game. Best defensive team in the country. Them or Iowa State. I'll give the argument to Iowa State. Iowa State's number 1 at KenPom now in defense. But Houston, 100-95. I mean, it was nuts. Texas A&M was down 12 with 1:30 left. Fought all the way back. They were down 7 under a minute left. Ended up hitting a huge buzzer beater by Anderson Garcia to send it to overtime. Houston had 4 guys foul out, but they got it done in overtime. Showed some serious resiliency and showed that they are a national title contender without a doubt. I mean, we talked about UConn having the roughest road to the Final Four out of all the 1 seeds. I think it's without a doubt Houston now. Houston had to take on Texas A&M, who is extremely talented, and then now they're going to draw Duke next round, while UConn gets to draw San Diego State out of the Mountain West, which defending runner-up, but This was an interesting game. Tyrese Radford went off 10 to 22 from the field. He had 27 points and 15 rebounds, 6 assists. Tyrese Radford was the story. Wade Taylor did not play good. 5 of 26 from the field. He had 21 points, but I mean, oh my goodness, he missed 21 times in this basketball game. That's ugly. Emmanuel Sharp, he led with 30 points, led the game. Incredible stuff. 7 of 14 from three. He knocked down the shots he needed to. Jamal Shed, 21 points, 10 assists. Then we just got to mention those bench players. Lath, Elvin, Wilson, Dunn. They came in a crucial spot, and they ended up winning the game for him. This was an all-around team victory for Houston in overtime. They move on to play Duke. Tough road to the Final Four. And then San Diego State just blew out Yale 85-57. Not much to talk about in that game. All right, let's talk about what this means for some of the chalkness we've been talking about. This is only the 5th time ever having every single 1 and 2 seed move on to the Sweet 16. It's only happened 5 times in the history of the NCAA tournament. Let's talk about how many times it's happened in the last couple of years. And obviously this year there's 8 of the 1 and 2 seeds in the Sweet 16, makes up 50% of the field. And last year in 2023, there was only 4 1 or 2 seeds in the Sweet 16. And the 2 years before that, 2022 and 2021, was both 5. They had 5, so it's an anomaly of a year. Hasn't really been March Madness. It's just been playing basketball, how things should happen. We mentioned on a previous podcast that no 1 versus 2 seed in the past couple years have faced off in the Elite Eight. I'm going to say we're most definitely going to see one this year, unless a lot of craziness happens. I think we will definitely see at least one versus 2 matchup in the Elite Eight. We only have 1 double-digit seed left, as we mentioned. It's NC State. Only the 2 worst-ranked teams won in the round of 32. It was Clemson, which was an underdog, and Gonzaga was favored over that just beat-up Kansas team. So it's been interesting. It's chalk. It's been chalk madness this entire season so far, or this entire March Madness. Other than that, Kentucky and Yale. Kentucky, Oakland, and Auburn, Yale. Those were the 2 upsets, and that's been about it. I don't even consider an 11 seed. I mean, 11 seeds are over 50% in the last couple of years, over 6 seeds, and that's about it. And then James Madison was just better than maybe throwing Grand Canyon in there. Grand Canyon over St. Mary's was definitely an upset. James Madison over Wisconsin was an upset, but I mean, it wasn't the craziest thing in the world. So it's been interesting. All right, next we're going to dive into some of the Sweet 16 games. We're going to talk about every single one of them, dissect them. We have the betting lines as well pulled up. People are going to be able to see them on YouTube. But first, I want to give a quick shout out to Fanatics, our glorious sponsor. They have the best March Madness apparel. Fanatics. They create their own brand. They have their own clothing brand. They also have Nike. They have Adidas. They have whatever you need. They're always running deals. They have the best customer service. Right now, they're currently offering 25% off everything with code BRACKET. It's only till the end of the night, but they offer stuff every single day. You got to go check out the Fanatics website. They have quality apparel, whether you're going for the Fanatics brand or obviously we know Nike and Adidas apparel is just great. They're offering 25% off again. I really encourage everyone to go check it out. The link is in the description. Go down, just click it. While you're down there, click the subscribe. Yeah, I'm going to get that in there again. But go down, click that link, shop for your March Madness team. If your team's still alive, you want to cheer them on, go down there, check it out. That's Fanatics. All right, let's move on to the Sweet 16 games. We're going to go just region by region. We'll start in the East and the West because these are going to be your Thursday games. I have the graphics pulled up once again for you guys to see on YouTube. If you're on audio, go check it out on YouTube. But if you're on YouTube and you're just on the go, yeah, follow us on audio as well. But we're going to start number 1 overall. This has got to be the most appealing game, I would think, because it was the national championship game last year. In the Sweet 16, we get the number 1 overall seeded UConn taking on the 5-seeded San Diego State. Now, we thought this game was definitely going to be UConn versus Auburn. Ended up being San Diego State, and San Diego State just had to get through Yale to get there. UConn, this game is Thursday at 7:39, by the way. This game's on TBS. This is the TBS game. The East got the TBS games. Defending national champion, defending runner-up. UConn is favored by 10.5 in this game. That just proves how incredible this team is. It's a Sweet 16, and you're still favored by double digits against the defending runner-up and the best team in the Mountain West. Incredible stuff, Dan Hurley. This will be a tough game to bet without a doubt. I mean, 10.5 points is a lot of points. San Diego State's defense can frustrate them, but obviously with Klingon on Ledee, I don't think UConn is going to have any trouble winning this game. The game that is the most polar opposite of teams. Two-seeded Iowa State taking on the three-seeded Illinois, also in that East region. This game's at 10:09, pending on TBS, depending when that UConn game ends. Iowa State is favored by 1.5 on via FanDuel, but Illinois, as we mentioned, they have the best offense in the nation right now in terms of efficiency on kenpom. Iowa State has the best defense. Complete polar opposites. Iowa State won the Big 12. Illinois won the Big 10 tournament. Who is going to come out of this game? This is going to be, I mean, I couldn't tell you if this game was going to be an 85-87 game, if this game was going to be a 60-62 game. I would tend to believe it's going to be lower scoring than you think. I'd probably take the under. I don't know what the over-under is. I do think I'm going to take Illinois to win the game outright, though. I just think, yes, defense is extremely, I mean, don't get me wrong, it is so incredibly important. I just think they haven't seen someone like Terrence Shannon that can just torch a defense. They're going to struggle with Marcus Damas getting down low. It's going to be Iowa State needing to score. If Iowa State can score, they will win this game. If they struggle, they're the 49th ranked offense right now. They struggle to score a little bit, it's going to be Illinois. This is going to be a fun game to watch. I'm going to take Illinois outright. I think Illinois wins this game, but Iowa State proved so many people wrong. Let's move into the West region. One-seeded North Carolina takes on four-seeded Alabama. A lot of people didn't think Alabama was going to get this far, but here they are proving people wrong. Nate Oates is an incredible coach. This game is on Thursday at 9:39. This is the late game. They switch it up. It's really weird how they do the times, but this one's on CBS, 9:39. So you will be able to watch two games at once. You'll be able to watch an East game and a West game at the same time in 30-minute differentials. But Alabama, only 3.5-point underdogs to North Carolina in this one. I do think North Carolina covers the 3.5 in this one. We've seen Alabama. Alabama beats the teams that they are supposed to beat every single time. Every single time they play someone they should beat, they win. Even they struggled with Arkansas late in the year, but they beat them. They haven't performed when they play great teams though. They got to play North Carolina in this one. I think North Carolina is just rolling. I mean, they just dominated that second half against Michigan State. North Carolina is almost underrated. They are a true national title contender. 3.5 points. I think they get the job done in this one and cover that 3.5 points and beat Alabama. It all just depends. I mean, North Carolina's defense is great, but their offense is also good. This might be an R.J. Davis versus Mark Sears, just absolute shoot-off. Both players might go for 30+. That's going to be a fun game to watch. The Sweet 16 games are so fun to watch because it's all the best teams we've been talking about all year. Moving on, down in the region, in the West region, they will play the winner of North Carolina and Alabama. We'll play the winner of this game, which is 2-seeded Arizona and 6-seeded Clemson. This game's at Thursday at 7:09. This is the early game. This game's on CBS. West got the CBS. Arizona is favored by 6.5 via kenpom. I thought Baylor minus, what were they favored by? 3.5 against Clemson. I thought that was pretty free. Clemson proved me wrong. Arizona is better than Baylor without a doubt. They are way more talented than Baylor, but they have way more size. Arizona's playing well. I'm going to take Arizona minus the 6.5 again. I could see Arizona winning this game by 20. Clemson's just out here proving people wrong, though. Clemson might mess around and outright win this game. I do think PJ Hall is really going to struggle in this game. Joe Girard is not going to get open shots on Kylan Boswell, and it's going to be a completely different game from Baylor to Arizona. Arizona is a whole new dog. I think Arizona covers the 6.5 in this one, but don't count Clemson out. They're playing well right now. They're rolling. Let's move into Friday. We're going to move into the South, up to the top right quadrant. This is going to be an incredible watch. One-seeded Houston, favored by 3.5 over four-seeded Duke. This game's on CBS, 9:39 Friday. Houston gets Duke in the Sweet 16. We talked about it already. Houston has a rough road to the Final Four. Had to play Texas A&M, who Texas A&M can beat anyone at any time. They almost did beat Houston. I think that Houston got past that game. I do think they get past Duke. I think Duke is weirdly undisciplined if you even believe that. You wouldn't expect it from Duke, but I think Houston is just going to frustrate the crap out of them. I think Jamal Shed is going. I mean, they're just going to face guard Jared McCain. I don't think Filipowski is going to get what he wants down low on Juwan Roberts. I do think Houston wins this game. It all depends on Duke shooting. Duke can light it up. You got to shoot over the top over Houston, just like that's why Texas A&M played them well. Duke can shoot it. I don't think Duke. I think Duke will get frustrated by Houston. I'm taking Houston to win it in this game. Hint, hint. I'm going to have all 4 1 seeds winning. I'm going to be betting on all 4 1 seeds in these ones. Marquette takes on NC State. Marquette is favored by 6.5. NC State is the only double-digit seed in here, as we'll mention again. This game's on Friday at 7:09. This is the early one. This game is on CBS. NC State and DJ Burns. DJ Burns has a tough matchup with Oso Ighodaro. We mentioned that he did not play too well in the last game. DJ Burns, for those who don't know, he is a human highlight reel. Big guy, quick. A big 6'10" guy with that size should not move as quick as he does, but he does. Oso Ighodaro, though, is lengthy. He's athletic. I think he also frustrates DJ Burns. Tyler Kolek's been playing great. Cam Jones has been playing great. I think Marquette wins the game. 6.5. That's a good line. That's a close line. Wouldn't recommend betting this game. I'll probably take Marquette minus 6.5, but not too confidently in that one. Moving into the Midwest, 1-seeded Purdue takes on Gonzaga, the 5 seed. This game's on Friday, the TBS game at 7:39. Purdue is favored by 5.5 as of right now. Gonzaga is going to be a popular upset pick. Purdue actually played Gonzaga earlier in the year, if you recall, in the Maui Invitational. Purdue beat them by 10. This is not the same Gonzaga team as back then. Ryan Nembhard was still getting used to the team, as so was Graham Ike. They're playing much better as of now, but you know who else is playing rock solid right now is Purdue. This is going to be a fun matchup. The 2 most intriguing matchups of there's so many of them. I'm not even going to finish that thought. There's so many of them. I mean, this is a great Sweet 16. We're going to see high quality basketball. Purdue, I'm going to take them to cover 5.5. I know a lot. I bet most of the money will be on Gonzaga, quite frankly. I'm still in on Purdue. I think they have that those demon in those eyes to get back and make a big run to the Final Four. I actually still believe that Purdue would be my pick to win it all as of right now, though they do have a tough road ahead of them. Tennessee, the 2 seed, takes on the 3-seeded Creighton. This one's on Friday at 10:09. This one's on TBS following that Gonzaga Purdue game. Tennessee favored by 2.5. I saw Tennessee really struggle with Texas. I do think right now Creighton played Oregon. I do think Oregon is a better basketball team than Texas right now. Oregon has some dudes. Texas really doesn't. Dylan Dessou's good. Max Absness is good, but I think Oregon's better than them. And probably Dante, Jermaine Couisnard, they are spectacular. Creighton handled off Oregon. Tennessee handled off Texas in kind of an ugly affair. I think Creighton is going to win the basketball game. I think this is a bold prediction. I think Baylor Shireman's going to outperform Dalton Connect. I really think he's going to. The question I have is Zakai Ziegler frustrating Stephen Ashworth. Trey Alexander. I'm curious to see what Creighton does. Will they throw Trey Alexander on Zakai Ziegler? What will they do? Creighton certainly has the size to match up with. I mean, this is a battle of like guard forward. Baylor Shireman versus Dalton Connect. This is going to be must watch TV. Excuse me. That is going to be an incredible matchup, along with Jonas Adu taking on Ryan Kalkbrenner, 2 premier athletic shot blocking big guys. That is going to be an incredible matchup. I'm going to be taking Creighton in this game. I wouldn't recommend betting this game. I think it's just going to be so back and forth. All depends. Can Creighton knock down the threes? Will Dalton Connect show up? We're going to find out. Zakai Ziegler may have a huge impact in this game, especially if they do throw Stephen Ashworth on him. Those are the games to watch. Hopefully everyone is excited. We still have more. Normally we end on our games to watch, but we're going to talk about how some of the statistics. We want to talk about some of the statistics. Let's start with the conference statistics. A lot of people have been hating on the ACC all year, myself included. I fall into this category. I'll admit it. The ACC is currently 8-1 in March Madness. Their lone loss was in the first 4. It was that Virginia team that they shouldn't have been in the tournament. 8-1. That's their only loss. Their other 4 teams in the tournament: North Carolina, Duke, Clemson, NC State, all in the Sweet 16. The ACC takes up 25% of the Sweet 16 spots. That is something to be proud of. That's really impressive. Moving on to the Big 12. The Big 12 is 7-6. Only 2 remaining teams are Houston and Iowa State. We've been talking a lot about how the Big 12 might be a little bit overrated, and outside of Houston and Iowa State, they might just be 7-6. Yeah, not as powerful as you'd think, for everyone saying that this is by far the best conference. The Big East has performed. A lot of this is because of, they only have 3 teams, and their 3 teams are so top heavy. They're all incredible basketball teams. They're 6-0, UConn, Marquette, and Creighton, all in the Sweet 16. So the ACC and the Big East combined, 14-1 in if you're not considering the first 4, they're 14-0 because of Virginia. So that's pretty cool stuff there. The Big Ten is 6-4. Purdue and Illinois still alive. Moving on. Big Ten doing well for itself. Pac-12 also doing well for itself, although it did not do well in the round of 32. Washington State got beat. So did Oregon and Colorado. Matter of fact, Arizona is the only team left. They moved on. They're 6-3 overall. The SEC has not performed. 5-6 overall. Tennessee and Alabama still alive. Mountain West's only team left is San Diego State. They're 4-5, matching up about the same as the SEC. Then the WCC is the only other conference with a team remaining. It is Gonzaga. They're 2-1 overall. Obviously, 2 wins coming from Gonzaga, the 1 loss coming from St. Mary's. Now we want to talk about this. We want to talk about a little bit of things before filling out your what do they call it over at ESPN? The second chance bracket. That's what it's called. We want to talk about some of the kenpom efficiencies. I know a lot of people really like this. It's gone kind of viral for us on Instagram and Twitter and even TikTok. So here's the remaining kenpom efficiencies. I got the graphic pulled up for those on YouTube. Hopefully you're watching on YouTube. Say hi. The overall number 1 kenpom team, I know it's been Houston most of the year. It is UConn right now. They're first overall. They're 2nd in offense, 8th in defense. So obviously a great national championship pick. Houston is number 2 overall still. They're 14th in offense, 2nd in defense. Iowa State did jump them. Purdue, 3rd overall, 3rd in offense, 16th in defense. These 3 teams, we've talked about it all year, separated themselves. The 5th overall team is actually Arizona. It is not North Carolina. You notice we're not going to say North Carolina here for a little bit, so keep that in mind. Arizona is 5th overall in overall efficiency, 9th in offensive efficiency, 10th in defensive efficiency. So they're in the top 10 of both. Notice we jump from 3 to 5. The 4th overall team in KenPom right now is Auburn. Auburn, 4th overall team. They got beat by Yale, obviously. So rough stuff there. But the 6th overall team is actually Duke. Duke, 4th seed in the tournament, 6th overall in KenPom. 5th offensively, 19th defensively. 7th is Iowa State, 49th offensively, 1st defensively, as we mentioned in that game with Illinois, 1st defensively, Illinois 1st offensively. That's going to be so fun to watch. Tennessee, 8th overall, 30th offensively. They've actually dropped some spots. And 3rd defensively, just behind Houston and Iowa State. And now we're going to talk about North Carolina. North Carolina is 9th overall in efficiency. And I don't have their overall defensive efficiency or offensive efficiency pulled up. I apologize for that. Got the wrong number, but they're 9th overall in efficiency. Illinois is 10th in overall efficiency, 1st in offensive efficiency, as we mentioned, but they are 92nd in defensive efficiency. Just polar opposites of Iowa State. That's going to be such a fun matchup. Creighton is 11th in offensive efficiency, 23rd in defensive efficiency. Gonzaga, 12th overall. Yes, they're all the way up to 12th at KenPom. 7th in offense, 41st in defense. Marquette is 13th, 19th in offense, 21st in defense. Alabama, 14th, 4th in offense, 101st in defense. That's the only team we have any spot in the hundreds. It is Alabama's defense, although they did look good against Grand Canyon. So San Diego State, 17th overall, 53rd in offensive efficiency, 9th in defensive efficiency. Clemson, 23rd overall, 24th in offensive efficiency, 38th in defensive efficiency. And then NC State is way down there. They're rolling right now, though. They're the hottest team in the country. 52nd overall, 42nd in offensive efficiency, 75th in defensive efficiency. So that's some of your KenPom numbers to keep in line. I did just kind of give some power rankings of the team. I'm pulling up the graphic on YouTube. Obviously, one has to be UConn. I do have Purdue at 2 over Houston because I think it's just because Houston's path is tough. I do have Iowa State at 4 right now, and yes, I know I said I'm taking Illinois, but Iowa State is their power ranking wise, they're up there. They're playing great. I'm just quite frankly taking the upset pick. Do have the fourth number 1 seed North Carolina at 5th, then Arizona at 6th. I hope we get that Caleb Love game so bad. I really do. Then 7th, I do have Tennessee still there. 8th, Illinois. I actually thought of switching Illinois and Tennessee, believe it or not. But I still kept Tennessee there. Give them some value. 9th, Marquette after their win over Colorado. 10, Creighton after that gutsy win over Oregon. 11, Duke. Now, I'm hearing anyone out that wants to put Duke up to even as far as probably number 9. They're playing great. They have to beat a team that's not a double-digit seed for them to move up for me. Gonzaga at 12. I'm also hearing anyone out. These 9 through 12 are pretty much interchangeable. I'm still have my concerns about Gonzaga, but we'll see. Then I think the next 4 are pretty obvious. Alabama at 13, San Diego State at 14, Clemson at 15, and NC State at 16. So that'll be fun to watch. Now I'm just going to pull up real quick. I'm just going to pull up my second chance bracket if anyone wants to just, tail a little bit. Who knows? I might miss every single game, but this is what I got. I got UConn over San Diego State, Illinois over Iowa State, then UConn taking down Illinois to move to the Final Four. Then I got North Carolina over Alabama, and then Arizona over Clemson, then Caleb Love and Arizona beating North Carolina to move to the Final Four. Houston over Duke, Marquette over NC State, Houston over Marquette, Purdue over Gonzaga, Creighton over Tennessee, Purdue over Creighton, setting up a 1-2-1-1 Final Four. I know it seems just like the obvious choice. It kind of felt like that from the beginning, but it's been so chalk. I mean, you couldn't have anyone probably less than a 4 seed, probably 3 seed on it, maybe 4 seed if you want to throw Duke in there. 3 or 4 seed, and any higher than that, I mean, unless you think Clemson or NC State's going to make a run, or even Gonzaga, I guess. But it's going to be probably one of the lowest totaled seeds in the Final Four we've had in a very long time. Do have UConn beating Arizona in the Final Four, although this is going to be kind of in Arizona's backyard. And then I do have Purdue beating Houston, and then I have Purdue beating UConn to win the national championship. That's my second chance graphic. If you want to take more upsets, that's why my bracket is busted. My bracket should not be busted. The upsets. I took upsets, and there has been no upsets. I had Drake beating Iowa State for what reason? I don't know. Just had Colorado beating Marquette almost. If I just would have chalked it and played it safe, would have been better. Nah, too much of a gambling kind of guy. Didn't work out. But this is the second chance bracket. That's going to do it for our show today. Hopefully this gave you a little bit of insight into the Sweet 16, some kenpom rankings, some how the conferences are doing. Remember to check out that Fanatics ad. Go get your March Madness apparel. Thanks to everyone for choosing us for your college basketball content. Before you leave, please hit the like. Go down and subscribe so you're updated on everything you need to know for college basketball. Give us a follow on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok at Bracket Science with 2 S's. You'll see it on a lot of our graphics if you're watching on YouTube. We post all these graphics on our Instagram. We're very active on there, interacting with the community. Comment, let us know what you're thinking. Who's going to be your Final Four? Who's going to be your national champion? You taking all 1s and 2 seeds? You taking all 1 seeds? You taking North Carolina? We'll see. Very excited to go forward. Sweet 16, everyone have a great rest of their week. Enjoy those games. We'll be back later this week. We'll be back after the Elite Eight. So, or no, you know what? We might podcast right before the Elite Eight. We'll give you a show before that. So be sure to check that out. We'll post it on our Instagram and Twitter. So you can be reminded, or just hit the like and subscribe button and you'll be reminded every time. So really appreciate it. Have a great rest of your week. See you later.